Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Candid show. You're listening to the podcast hosted by myself, Krishna, and Shriram. In this episode, we are going to discuss about the popular Netflix show, La Casa de Papel, otherwise known as Money Heist. This show is out and out the about the discussion of this TV show, which is very popular. To jump into this discussion in the this show consists of about 4 seasons totally, and the final season is about to come in 2021, we hope. So now in the first season, the professor, who played by Alvaro Morte, groups up with a team of 8 members to plan a very big robbery, a very big heist in the country of Spain. So the place they choose to make their plan is the Royal Mint of Spain. So now the professor, along with 8 members, so the 8 members, namely Berlin, Tokyo, Denver, Rio, Nairobi, Moscow, Helsinki, Oslo. So all these 8 members decide to enter the Royal Mint of Spain and held hostages and rob the Mint of Spain. So now, basically, the professor is not physically involved in this heist, but he is the one who guides them over the radio uh, from outside place, and guides them to make this heist in a very precise manner. So all these 8 members first in the first season enter the Mint of Spain and held hostages, and decide to rob about 900 million euros. So they at first they rob the Mint of Spain, and this is what is about the first season. And the police officers associated with the heist is Raquel and Angel. So these officers are the appointed ones who are in charge of the current situation outside the Royal Mint of Spain. So this was about the first season, and it is basically about how they enter and how they rob the Mint of Spain. So this is about the first season. So Shriram, what would you like to say us about the second season of La Casa de Papel?
So as we know, season one ended up in a very big cliffhanger because I think, as we all know, Money Heist is, basically the show has a standard of always giving us very close or very edge of the seat endings, and this was again the same thing. So as we saw in the season one ending, they were cornered inside the mint, and the police were trying to push from the outside. So they were kind of back cornered from both sides, but still, Professor kind of, we were kind of new to the Professor's schemes. But season two kind of gave us a much more depth, in detail view about the plans of Professor, because as we all saw, he was kind of very intricate in his planning. Because season two was, I think, more about the relationship between the characters, trying to figure out the end game strategy of how they are actually going to transport the money. So I think in that way, season two was all about trying to recuperate from the initial losses in season one, and they successfully did manage to move out of the money via an underground passage, and they successfully took their own share of money, and they all split up into different parts of the country. And we also lost one of the most greatest actors or greatest characters in this, especially Berlin. I think most of us would be able to relate to this, I think, because as we all know, he did a stunning performance throughout the 2 seasons he did. So in that way, Berlin was one of the most incredible characters. So yeah, that should be a brief summary, I guess, of season two. So Krishna, what have we got for season three?
Yeah, before speaking about season 3, Shriram, most of us hate the character Arturo, who is the most hated
Yeah.
character. What would you like to say about this character who became very famous in the meme pages? So, yeah.
Yeah, so this character, I think we didn't even expect him to be something like that. I think because he turned out to be like a normal kind of character in the initial 2 or 3 episodes. I think because he was kind of like an hostage, we didn't have any kind of a particular hate towards him, because I think he was just a normal character. He was just doing his job, and later I think he started to become extremely annoying because he kind of had this hero complex where he wanted to be the save everyone. He wanted to get the fame that he saved them. So I think in that way, I think why this character is the most annoying, I think, is because He was so self-centered, and I think he actually didn't even want to help the people. He just wanted to have the fame for himself, or he just wanted to be the hero in front of the people. So I think that's why people kind of have a inherent hate towards Arturo, and I'm also same on that boat as well. I think,
Yeah.
yeah, that's why people hate Arturo. I
Yeah,
think, yeah.
yeah. As Shriram told, season two is all about the character developments and how they plan their robbery. So yeah, that was about season two. And in season three, if you see, all the members split up and go and settle in different parts of the world, and so they live on their lives very peacefully. But unfortunately, Rio and Tokyo, who are living happily. Later on, Tokyo left Rio as she didn't like the lifestyle in the island. She was one who wished all the party going. She was like the party going types, and she didn't like the life she lived with Rio in the island. So she left Rio, and Rio was very heartbroken. And after a few days, he tried to contact her via the satellite phone, which was very strictly said by the professor only to be used in the emergency situations. So by this act, Rio gets caught by the police, and here comes the entry of Alicia Sierra, who is the antagonist of the show in season 3. So like Alicia Sierra, who is also pregnant, holds Rio captive and tortures him to say all the information about the professor and rest of the gang. So this was for season 3. They all the members including professor and all gather together, and they try to make a very big distraction, as Rio as their team member is held captive by Alicia Sierra. So they try to create a very big distraction. So they try to pull out a very big heist, another heist, that is to rob the Bank of Spain. So that is their next plan, to create a distraction. Their aim was not about robbing the money. So like their aim was to create a distraction between the police and the people, and however the professor manages to take Rio back into the squad. So this was about season 3, and it was a very big cliffhanger ending, as our most loved character Nairobi gets shot by in the chest and suffers. So this was the plan of Alicia Sierra, who emotionally attacks her by a very big plan. So yeah, this was for season 3, which was very good, and had a very big cliffhanger ending. So Shiram, what would you like to say us about season 4?
And again, after the season 3, a spectacular ending left us all in our edge of our seats. We were all extremely hoping for season 4. They left us wanting for more always. That's been the general strategy of these directors, especially. So again, season 4 kind of uncovers from their recuperating from Nairobi being shot, and they are trying to do all of these emergency procedures to kind of take the bullet out of Nairobi. So again, the initial few episodes are basically them trying to recuperate from the heavy loss which they initially occurred in season 3 ending. And season 4, we kind of get new characters in the equation, where they also kind of contribute to a lot, especially Marcel, where he kind of helps the professor in basically navigating out and kind of like basically establishing his plan. And the ending was nearly phenomenal, because the professor had planned like the stages of assault, where he kind of planned every single thing to its utmost detail. I think that's what the show actually has its that's what the show is kind of like praised for, or kind of has respect for, in my
Yeah,
opinion, is
and
because the amount of planning.
yeah,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
Gandhia.
Krishna.
Yeah, he was the most hated in season 4, next to
Yeah,
Arturo. Yeah.
exactly. Because as we all know, Nairobi is everybody's favorite character. She was just pet for every single person, and Gandhia just straight up shot her. So he turned out to be the most hated character after Arturo. So yeah, season 4 was like a mixed bag again, a cliffhanger ending again, as Professor was being confronted by Alicia Sierra at gunpoint, and and Raquel actually came back to the Bank of Spain by an again intricate plan by the Professor. So yeah, season 4 is definitely a lot better than the other three seasons, even in terms of the action and in terms of the story as well. So yeah, that should be a brief summary of all the 4 seasons of Money Heist. Yeah.
So yeah, we are hoping that season 5 would come very soon, and the shooting has been resumed. We came to know that the shooting has been resumed. So after this coronavirus pandemic lockdown, the many TV shootings have been paused. So we hope that the season 5 comes very soon, early in the months of 2021. So now to give a small description about the characters in this show, I would like to pinpoint three characters. First of all, the professor, who is the protagonist of this show, and he is a very big mastermind of this show, who plans each and every situation, and deals with it in a very precise and very great manner. So his plans are very great. And next, and to be very real, the character Berlin was very excellent in his acting. And finally he was the in charge of the members in the heist. And so finally he was suffering of cancer. So like he was suffering of some disease, and he was about to die in months. So this heist was his last. And he finally, however, didn't make it out. And so he sacrificed his life for the safety of his team and their plan. So that was a very brilliant acting from Berlin. So next I would
Yeah.
like to speak about Nairobi, who is my favorite character of La Casa de Papel. So I was very much disappointed while Gandhia shot Nairobi. All hoped that Nairobi could live on. So, but it was very emotional and very sad moment for the fans. So, Shriram, what all characters do you like to give a description about?
I think in terms of the acting and actually in terms of the screen presence, I think Tokyo put on a really good show, excluding the part that people hated just because she wasn't a team player or she just doesn't obey the commands of professor. But I think that shouldn't be a sole reason why people should hate her. I think because even as an actor or even as a person, you could kind of relate to her in a way that since you've always been alone in your life, or since she used to do most of the things alone, I think she never got to the fact of being a group kind of thing, or she never even got used to the idea that you could actually function in a group. So I think that way, I think she kind of relates with me, or she kind of, I can kind of understand that perspective, and I can see why people hate her. But still, I think even in terms of the acting and even in terms of the screen presence, she was very dominating in both of the aspects. I think so. That's why Tokyo is, I think, one of it. And I think Berlin again. I think, as we all know, Berlin is one of the most famous characters. I think. After Professor, he probably is the most famous character in that franchise. I think just because of the amount of acting or the amount of emotion or the amount of dedication he has actually put into his role. Because as you can clearly see in every basic scene, we can actually kind of like he basically lives as Berlin. I think that is one of the most strongest points of this entire franchise as well. I think it's just because of the incredible show put on by Berlin throughout the 1.5 seasons which he was in. And I think that way Berlin is one of the most strongest and influential characters in this whole franchise, I should say. Yeah, so Berlin, I think, be second, and third, I think I would go with Moscow, because even though we didn't get to see a lot of him, like he kind of died early on, like in the middle of season 2, I think, but still in that way he was kind of like a good father. He kind of like had Denver's back in most of the cases. He kind of brought that positivity which we all needed. He kind of had that family background which most of the other members didn't have. So I think in that way, Moscow was a kind of like an person who kind of integrated the group together into a bigger family, I think, because they were kind of separate only without Moscow, and Moscow was kind of like the integrating link between all of these different characters. And I think Moscow was a significantly good character in terms of the acting, and even also kind of like acting as a catalyst to enhance the show. So yeah, those are my three characters. Yeah.
Yeah, moving upon the end of this podcast, we would like to give some predictions about the season 5 of La Casa de Papel. So, we think that the season 5, the professor kinds of plays a dual role, that he supports the police, and for all this time he was been playing a dual role. So, what do you think, Shiram? What do you think upon this prediction?
Well, there could be a decent amount of possibility, I guess, because I think we can also kind of see him doing that because, as we all know, he's kind of like this incredible planner. He kind of plans things out into a throughout the long duration of time, and I think that kind of an aspect or that kind of an expectation which people kind of have could kind of fit into the story which currently is running right now. I think because even if he kind of did something like that, that would actually not be completely bonkers, I would say, because I
Yeah.
think him being kind of like a double role character could actually complement to the story. But I think the kind of link which they have to kind of give or justification which they have to give for this should be definitely proper, because if the justification isn't good, I think people are just not going to accept it, and they'll definitely the show will kind of lose its true true kind of, what do you say, a true kind of respect which it had, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, his true motive was not to hurt anyone, and it of course makes sense by this point that he is somehow playing a dual role. So yeah, we would like to end this show, guys. So like we hope this season 5 will come soon. So stay tuned for the next episode, guys. If you like this podcast, subscribe to our channel and like our video. So please leave your comments in the comment section. So stay tuned for the next episode, guys. Thank you for listening.
Thank you.